Hello, hello. This is Lisa Nickel, host of the Sacred and Rooted podcast. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. This episode is a little different. I'm going to start a new segment to the podcast, and so I would love your help with this. I was figuring out or trying to figure out, racking my brain a little bit about how to create the podcast as more of a community experience. And so this is what I've come up with to start with. Um, I'd like to start a new segment that is basically listener stories about their direct experiences with the divine. And I use the term divine loosely as far as, it can be anything from, you know, stories about how your intuition kind of showed you the way to literal divine interventions, anything and everything, synchronicities, spirits, guides, whatever, like anything that's basically an experience with the unseen world and how you feel, your life was improved by that experience. Uh, And so I know we all have these experiences, even if some of us maybe aren't as conscious or aware of them as much as others. But I want people to really, through stories and through other people's stories and sharing stories, um, we can each understand and really sink into what's possible for ourselves. Um, and see just with the variety of experiences that people have with their own intuition, synchronicities in their lives, experiences with angels, spirits, guides, mother nature, animals. Like, it could be literally anything. It's just those things that are just a little more coincidental, let's say, than, the regular run of the mill material realm. This is a physical object and that's all it is, kind of thing. And so that's what I am proposing to start. I will, um, and so it's going to be called Listener Experiences with the Mystical, I think, is what I'm going to land with. And this is just one small way that I am kind of brainstorming as far as things that I can do to really elicit and inspire people to, you know, I guess it's almost like birthing a new way of existing as humanity. And so, one part or one aspect, super small aspect of that for me is that we center our spirituality, that we center our divinity, that we really grow into and use our all of our powers, not just the five senses. We have so many more than that. And so this is just one small way of opening that door and of, speaking it into existence in a material way, and not just leaving it kind of as a, I experienced this, I experienced that, but I never, I don't go to dinner parties where we talk about this all the time, and maybe I just haven't found the right friends for that yet. I don't know. Um, but like, it would be nice to just have it as more of like, as commonplace as how's the weather. And I'm not sure where you're from when you're listening to this, but in Canada at least, that's a very common thing to discuss with strangers, and strangers and family and friends alike. So if it was that common, it would just bring forward, so much more of our magnificence as far as what we can experience and sense and intuit in our daily lives, and bring that forward in a collective way. Uh, and let's face it, this day and age is, we need to move through these changes, this chaos together. And there's a lot of people creating a lot of, a lot of fear. It's causing people to have a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, and overwhelm when they think of the future. And this is my small way of kind of countering that and saying, listen, let's, instead of focusing on fear, instead of just kind of going into a rabbit hole of anxiety and fear and what ifs, why don't we focus on the possibilities, the brilliance, the potential of us, of each of us, and what we can accomplish collectively when we put ourselves together in positive ways. Um, and so, yeah, I really just want to center the energy of love and the mystical, um, in a group setting, in a community setting, so that we can share and we can talk and we can, um, learn from each other, because that is the most fun, I think. And we have created from fear for so long. Like, let's just like, let's try and no longer do that. And by, yeah, bringing love, bringing the mystical connections we have with, Mother Nature, with the universe, with God, Goddess, whatever name you most connect with is perfect. So that we can kind of really dig in to creating a home on this earth that leads with love, in every direction. And so, if you do have a story you would like to share, please send me an email. My email address is Lisa, Lisa, at lisanichol.ca. Um, and Nicol as Nicol. So Lisa at lisanichol.ca. It'll be in the show notes too, so you can easily reference it. And just type out your experience that you are willing to have me share on the podcast. And like I said, it can range from anything from, your feeling or experience or sense of a higher power and how that went, signs from the other side, synchronicities, you know, angels, ancestors, archangels, anything, Mother Nature, animals, spirit guides. Like, I mean, when I say spirit guides, it could be, you know, literally your ancestors or anything else, any beings, but it could also be, there's animal spirit guides. I find animals very spiritual. So I mean, I use them as signs and communicators for myself all the time. And so it literally could be anything. It doesn't have to be, it's not too big or too small. We want to, you know, voice, give voice to all of it so that, uh, it is just like I said, it's as regular as talking about the weather, when you're talking to somebody or catching up with somebody or anything like that. And I think even I'm going to inspire myself to begin to ask people, um, just even something as simple as like, have you had any synchronicities lately that were, totally cool, or something like that, where they can kind of take that as a little thing, or they can take it as a big story about, some experience they had with God or something. Like, it could be anything, but just to open the door, to that, I think is really important. And even if they have nothing to say, it may just bring their consciousness into more awareness, the next time they have an experience like that, and to take note, because we do spend a lot of time in our minds taking note of a lot of negative things and keeping track and arguing in our heads about how people have done us wrong and things like that. And so let's just, tip the scales in the other direction. Let's try and, bring in more of the positive, more of the magical, more of what really makes it fun to be human, is just to have those experiences with, um, the unseen and otherworldly, and to really be able to pick up on that in ways that we probably take for granted. but also maybe we discount them a little bit too as, oh, who knows, that's just that. But not really thinking how regular and how much of an occurrence it is for everybody, because we're all spiritual beings here having a human experience, as they say. I don't know who said that first, but it's brilliant. Uh, all right, so that is all I wanted to say at this point. Just an invitation. Anybody who's interested, if you can send me an email, you can email me and send me like write the story out, or you could even voice memo me and send that too. And it can be like a pre-recorded thing that I include in the podcast. Just as long as you're aware that if you do send me something, I mean, unless you specifically say it's just for my own interest, um, I will confirm with you before I put it on the podcast that you're still game for that, just to be sure that I'm not crisscrossing any messages. But I look forward to hearing from you. And I think this is a really fun way of creating community via podcast, and having a lot of different voices involved and not just, mine. And then whoever at some point I'll have guests, um, you know, guests on the podcast when I get more organized here. But for now, it would be fun just as a casual kind of almost like sitting around a campfire or sitting around some candles, however you want to think of it, just like sharing stories of your different experiences, and then learning from others and seeing what different flavors people have with their own spirituality, because it's all the same, but it's also each person has a little personal zhuzh to it, so it'll be fun. So again, if you want to write it out in an email or send me a voice memo, either way, send them to lisa@lisanichol.ca, and you'll have a future episode at some point with these listener experiences, which I will be excited to put together for you. All right, so have a great day. I will see you next time. Take care.